What's up, guys? Happy Sunday, everyone. I wasn't going to do this, but I was so psyched about what I saw at DC FanDome yesterday that I had to do an extra live stream this weekend. So, good afternoon to all of you joining us. I see Mirror Domains, Christy, Travis Earl is here. Hope you guys are all doing well and you enjoyed the day yesterday. Very quickly, a big congratulations to everybody who is part of the Patreon Fantasy Football League. We had a wonderful draft last night. We had a good time. I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but you guys know how competitive I am. So I need to point out that I got an A in that draft, and I'm mighty excited about it. But who knows what's going to happen this season? Good luck to you all. All right. DC FanDome. So, first off, just to give you guys a little bit of a heads up, this isn't necessarily a recap and overview of the entire event. You guys know my coverage skews a little more movie heavy than anything else. So I'm just going to run through the feature film lineup here. So if you guys are interested in games or TV, I highly recommend going over to collider.com. And actually, if you're interested in movies too, even after we burn through all of my feelings about this stuff, there's so much great content on the website right now. And the collider.com team just worked so hard covering everything so thoroughly yesterday. So please go on over there to get additional thoughts, to see some screenshots, everything you could imagine. Dewey has arrived. Dewey's arrived, so we can officially start to go through this. My overall thoughts on what I saw of DC FanDome yesterday. I didn't watch everything, but of what I watched, I thought it was a really well done event. It has been an ongoing topic of conversation since the lockdown began. Who is going to kind of crack the code with online conventions or online film festivals? I think I'm going to say that FanDome has gotten the closest to doing something that I could be satisfied with going forward. And I'm not saying I don't ever want to go back to in-person conventions and events, because I am dying to get back into that kind of atmosphere when it's safe. But I really enjoyed myself yesterday. First, I think they did a really good job getting the word out there. And I know some of this comes down to the fact that I follow certain people that some of you might not. But what happened yesterday on Twitter was, I think almost like 95% of my Twitter feed was all about DC FanDome. And it felt like I was there. It felt like I was there with all of them to a degree. And I really appreciated getting that feeling back. And then on top of that, as far as the presentations that I watched, it did kind of feel like it trimmed the fat off of traditional convention panels, where most of the stuff that I saw was the high priority information. They just got to the point. It was quick. It was in, out. I saw the concept art I wanted. I saw the footage that I wanted, and that was it. So I thought overall, the whole thing just played really well, was really well orchestrated, was really well, marketed and put out there to the public. So I applaud everyone who put all that time and effort into just the production of the whole event and pulling it off really well. All right, so we got a whole bunch of people here who did enjoy FanDome. Kakashi, sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. FanDome was amazing. I'm glad you enjoyed it. What else do we got here? We have a super chat. Luke, how you doing this morning? Good times last night on the fantasy football draft. I feel like you got an A-. Luke got an A-, so I'm going to have my competition face on right now. I'm watching out for you, Luke. All right. First movie up on the list, and bear with me, guys. I pulled a couple of images, and I'm going to try to put them on the screen as I talk, but it's hard doing all this at once. But anyway, first thing we should talk about is the Wonder Woman 1984 trailer, the new trailer. So starting out with that, one of the first shots we get is more imagery of the Amazon Olympics, which is something that I am super excited about. In the first Wonder Woman movie, some of my favorite stuff was the material that took place on Themyscira, so I'm really looking forward to spending more time there, but also with the whole idea of what the Amazon Olympics is, based on what Patty Jenkins has said recently, at least, just this idea of this being a group of people who are training for a battle, and this gives them the opportunity to show off who is best in each different skill set. I can't wait to see more of that. And the footage overall in that trailer, I just love how much the colors pop. There are a number of frames with really well-used accent colors that I thought played really well. Moving down the line here, a big standout of this trailer is obviously Kristen Wiig as Cheetah. I mean, we haven't really seen all that much of her, and I'm so excited, not even just to get a first look at her full Cheetah getup, but also just to get a little more of what the mind frame of that character is, which seems really dark to me. And I don't know, I think it might be what Kristen Wiig is bringing to that performance, but I think that character is going to be a far richer villain than we might have gotten otherwise. It just, I don't know, her headspace seems really interesting to me. But I do have to mention that the Apex Predator line in the trailer immediately brought me back to Crawl. If you haven't seen Crawl, please go watch it. But I don't know, there was like a hurt in Kristen Wiig's eyes in all of her scenes in this trailer that, I don't know, really kind of spoke to me, and I felt for her. And I feel like a villain is more interesting if you can understand their motivation and why they end up in this bad place than otherwise. So I'm really feeling that. But we have to talk about the digital Cheetah look here. And, you know, this is the first image that I want to bring up. You know, this is, you know, a blurry screen grab, but it's going to take a little to sell me on this. Based on what I've seen in this trailer and looking at this image right now, it's very difficult to pull off CG characters in a live action world. But what I'm seeing in this image is, I think they're setting the colors and the environment for the full CG Cheetah look in a way that's going to support that kind of visual effects artistry here. I can't really judge whether or not it's going to work in the full feature based on just the clips we get in this trailer. So I'm a little skeptical of it, but you know, I'm holding out hope that they're going to do it well. I really do think that's one of the most difficult things to do in the CG realm, is to integrate CG characters into a live action world. And I don't know, what I saw in that trailer makes me suspect they're going to pull it off in the full feature, but that's one thing that I can't be sure about just yet. One other point I want to make about the Wonder Woman trailer, which I believe I've made before because we saw this a little in the previous promos, but I am just loving the fish out of water Steve Trevor stuff. I think the bit at the end with his outfit, the stuff with the radar, it plays really well. And I like how that kind of, you know, is a little bit of a reversal of what we got from Wonder Woman in the first film, where she's kind of the fish out of water exploring the city. Now it's him. So I'm really into the humor that I saw in this as well. I'm so pumped for this movie. I can't freaking wait. Now, next up here is The Flash. So many interesting things happening with The Flash. After all of the, you know, the setbacks that this movie has experienced over the years, I think it has landed in a pretty good place. We already covered on the Merry Hour this week all the stuff that they said about having more than one Batman in the movie, in particular bringing back Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck. I hear that news and I'm absolutely thrilled about it. I love them both in the role and I can't wait to see more. During the conversation yesterday, we did get this quote from Christina Hodson about how that's going to happen with this whole multiverse idea. And she had said, the cinematic multiverse is going to be born out of this movie. It's born of Barry's story. And then she goes on to say, it blows our minds the levels of possibility that exist within the context of this character and this story. I mean, it kind of does blow my mind too. I mean, whoever thought we were going to get multiple Batmans in the same movie, let alone Batmans that were iconic from previous iterations of this character on the big screen. I just think there's so much potential there, and I can't wait to see what they do with it. I also got really hung up on something recently that director Andy Muschietti had told to Vanity Fair. He says, this movie is a bit of a hinge in the sense that it presents a story that implies a unified universe where all the cinematic iterations that we've seen before are valid. It's inclusive in the sense that it is saying all that you've seen exists and everything that you will see exists in the same unified multiverse. I know he's talking about it from a story perspective, but a bit of the quote that I really like is when he mentions how it makes all of the other iterations valid, because you guys know how it is in this sphere. We're constantly ranking things. We're constantly arguing for our favorite Batman. So just to hear the director of The Flash say all versions are valid, I don't know. I think there's a really good opportunity to send a really positive message that, like, no matter who your favorite is valid. I don't know how far he's going to go into that in a Flash movie, but I don't know. I kind of hope he seizes that opportunity. Other cool stuff from this presentation, because we know they haven't shot anything for this movie, but we did get some super cool concept art, and this one in particular caught my eye because, as Collider.com pointed out, oh, why isn't my oh, it's not like a full image. Sorry, guys, I'm still here in the frame. This image here, you could see the yellow on Batman's suit, which could imply that this is Michael Keaton's Batman. So I'm mighty intrigued by this, but also it's a beautiful image. I love it. This movie's coming out, or is scheduled to hit theaters right now, June 3rd, 2022. And I'm pumped. Are you guys pumped? Let me take a break to check the chat a little bit. Oh, we have a super chat from D-Train. We didn't get SDCC, but DC FanDome made up for it. I mean, we did get San Diego ComicCon. I don't want to take away from what they did, because, you know, a lot of hard work went into that in terms of bringing conversation about properties that we're all huge fans of to our lives at home via YouTube. I don't necessarily think San Diego Comic-Con was organized as well as DC FanDome was. You know, they have maybe more heavy lifting to do because they have to do so many properties and so many different mediums, whereas, you know, DC FanDome, the content was a little more focused. But even in terms of YouTube video publishing and curation, I think San Diego Comic-Con could have done it a little better, but I appreciate them trying it all. All right, next up here, we're going to, ooh, I'm so excited for this one. It's the Suicide Squad. I think I am willing to commit to saying that the Suicide Squad is officially my most anticipated movie on the DC film lineup. I'm so freaking excited. Before we even get to the behind the scenes footage, even just the roll call video that they released, it is stellar. It got me so hyped to see this lineup of incredible actors and these super colorful looking characters and the great costume design. And that song that plays in the background, it's from Grandson. But like, I keep watching the video just to listen to the song. Then going into the footage, man, like, the footage is incredible. I really could sit there and watch that video over and over, just like pausing to examine every single frame, whether it's giving us a sense of what an actual frame in the movie might look like, or just a behind the scenes shot and seeing everything that's happening around the actors. Really, just everything about this caught my eye. A tone style thing that is important to bring up from this behind the scenes footage is the quote that said, "This one is completely unique. It's a gritty 1970s war movie combined with the brilliance of James Gunn's characters and comedy." I'm very into the style. I'm very into ideas of how to make comic book adaptations stand out. We get a lot of them. I like seeing them with unique flares to them. It seems like this could be a way for the Suicide Squad to feel very different, but also it's a James Gunn movie. Every single time I see a James Gunn movie, I know he's going to bring something totally unique. And when James Gunn directs a movie, I know it is going to be entirely different from what it might have looked like had anybody else been behind the lens of that movie. And when someone like James Gunn says it's going to be different from any superhero movie ever made, I feel like that comment holds a whole lot of weight. And also, I didn't write this quote down, but what he says towards the end of the behind the scenes piece, like something to the effect of, you know, like, this was one of, now I'm butchering his quote, so excuse me, but something like, this was one of, you know, the most incredible experiences he's ever had. You know, when you see the heart and soul he poured into Guardians of the Galaxy, again, him saying that in particular holds a whole lot of weight in my mind. But, you know, just looking at some of these characters here, I just, like, I don't know how I'm ever going to pick a favorite. Right now, from the previous Suicide Squad movie, Captain Boomerang was my favorite. I love Jai Courtney in that role, but he's going to have a lot of competition here. David Dastmalchian as Polka Dot Man is really, really catching my eye right now, and I have a picture of him. There he is. Look at that shot. Oh, man. There's just so many opportunities with this movie. And King Shark, I mean, King Shark. I don't know. I'm gonna make a BB-8 style prediction right now and say there's a very good chance King Shark could wind up being my favorite part of this movie. So we're gonna see what happens with that. But also, I love Flula Borg. Just seeing him and hearing him talk about something always puts a smile on my face. The other thing, what else did I write down here? It's another quote from David Dastmalchian, which I found interesting. There is no one better in the world to direct the Suicide Squad than James Gunn. I'm willing to get behind that comment. Feels like a little bit of a loaded comment, given the fact that we have already seen a Suicide Squad movie. But I don't know. Based on what I see in this behind-the-scenes featurette we got here, boy, is this one going to be a most anticipated of 2021 for me. And as I said earlier in this section, most anticipated of all the upcoming DC films for me. So Suicide Squad opens August 6th, 2021. And oh, man, I cannot wait. We have a lot of comments here. Neil, King Shark is awesome. I'm 100% with you, man. Aaron Hall, if Polka Dot Man ends up being the hero, I'm in. Suicide Squad is going to be bonkers from Can You Putt? Oh, hey, thanks, John. Perri's awesome. I appreciate that. I'm so excited to be able to hang out with you guys right now and talk about this. I really wanted to dig into this more. All right. Actually, I might piss some of you off with this one because the next section is the Snyder Cut. And a lot of you know this already, but I haven't been somebody who was, give me the Snyder Cut since we got, the cut of Justice League. And I know a lot of you are super passionate about getting this cut of the film out there. And I don't want to take away any of your enthusiasm, but I also have to be honest with you. Of all the DC content that we got out of DC FanDome and all the stuff we have to look forward to, this isn't the highest on my list, but I'm very, very curious. So it's debuting on HBO Max in 2021, and we're getting it in a miniseries type format. 4 parts, 1 hour each. So, talking about what was stated in the presentation and looking at some of the footage here, Snyder did say that none of Joss Whedon's reshoot footage will appear in his film, which, I kind of get. This is the Snyder Cut. He had a vision in mind. All the power to him if he is getting the ability to release his own cut of the movie. Going into the teaser stuff, I will say that the aspect ratio thing threw me off a little. Maybe it was just because I wasn't entirely expecting it, but that was the first thing that caught my eye. Next, there's a couple shots here, and again, this is not a traditional release. He has to work with what he has and that extra money he got. I think it was $30 million, but there's some things that wouldn't have been done the same way had he got to see his vision through initially. But first image that kind of caught my eye was the CG. I don't think it looks terrible, but I just don't love it. A couple of the opening shots felt video game-ish to me. And again, video game graphics are phenomenal now, so I don't want to make that sound like a slight to video games, but I'm just trying to use a descriptor to explain to you guys what I was kind of looking at here. So that was one thing. The other thing for the teaser overall is I found that I was responding more strongly to things that were completely new, like images and characters we had never seen before, but also I found myself responding more to the material that didn't involve characters that we've seen in their own solo films since. So, for example, here, when we got to see Kiersey Clemons as Iris West, I was freaking thrilled. I love her as an actor all around. So I'm just excited to see her in anything. But to get a first look at her here, that really, really worked for me. Another thing that really worked for me is more Ray Fisher as Cyborg. I think that his material playing with that more somber background music worked so much better than, let's say, seeing Aquaman footage to that. Because with Aquaman, my mind is so firmly in what James Wan did with that character. And that didn't line up with what I saw in this trailer. So that might just be something I have to get used to when I'm going to jump into the Snyder Cut when it hits. So that was just more of like a tone inconsistency that I was feeling throughout. But back to Cyborg really quickly, because Snyder did note during the presentation that Cyborg is the heart of the movie. Cyborg is, I think, the thing in the end that holds the movie in a lot of ways. So let me rephrase that so it's clearer. Cyborg is, I think, the thing in the end that holds the movie in a lot of ways. That really thrills me because Cyborg was a character that I really wanted more of in the cut of Justice League. I think that character has so much potential. And, you know, one of the things I was most disappointed about when the DCEU kind of fell apart is that the Cyborg movie got lost in the mix. Who knows what's going to happen with that in the future? But I'm happy to hear that he's going to have a bigger presence in Justice League. And, you know, as I wind this one down, the other thing about the teaser that didn't work well, or not as well as some of the other content that I got out of DC FanDome, which, you know, I feel like the way to describe it is it felt more like a music montage. The way that this it's just a teaser. So we're going to get another trailer, and maybe that'll have more of a heavy emphasis on story than what we got here. But the way that I was viewing this is it felt more like, almost like, you guys know those end of the year montages I cut, where it's basically just like random clips from movies, or not totally random, but clips from movies set to the beat of music. That's how this played to me. And, you know, I don't think that's what I was looking for in a promo, or at least it wasn't the type of promo that was going to get me more hyped for the Snyder Cut. But, you know, I'm going to watch this 100%. And, you know, I am endlessly fascinated by production, film production in general, challenges, overcoming them. I am always fascinated to see how one director's vision differs from another. And that is what the Snyder Cut's going to give us. So I'm so eager to see it for that reason. But again, I don't want my skepticism or my lack of excitement for Snyder Cut compared to other titles we're talking about today take away from any enthusiasm you might feel. So those are my thoughts on the Snyder Cut. Let's see if we got some thoughts in here. Seattle KO is pointing out Hallelujah was probably used because he's happy that we get to see his cut. I didn't think about that. Maybe that is part of it. Watchmen Ultimate Edition was such a better version of the film. I like both versions of the film, but I really do like the longer cut there. Steve Calderon is also happy we got to see Kiersey Clemons as Iris West. Clicked on that accidentally. One True Prince. I'm not sure what that was referring to, but there you go. Let's see. Oh, we got a Death Star Kitty. I had 0 interest in the Snyder Cut before the teaser. I now have 1 interest out of 100. I mean, hey, one's better than nothing. I'm curious, very, very curious. We've got another negative. I was trying to like balance it out here. Sorry, guys. Can you put Justice League is the movie I'm looking forward to the least. All the best. I'm happy for anyone getting to see their vision out for people to see. There you go. That's the way to spread the love. All right. Next up, I'm excited about this one too. Black Adam. I am a huge fan of Dwayne Johnson in any movie. Yes, I said it. Pretty much any movie. I'm trying to think through his whole filmography, but I just happened to rewatch The Tooth Fairy, and even when a movie isn't like super refined or I don't know, just like not perfectly executed, I feel like Dwayne Johnson and his attitude and the fact that he gives everything 100% brings every single project he is in up a notch. And the fact that he's been attached to Black Adam for so long and he's poured so much just heart and soul into it before the movie even goes into production, I will always be rooting for this film. But I think what they did at DC FanDome is the way you work it when you have no footage to show. Big round of applause to Boss Logic for that incredible artwork, the way they animated it, the way that Dwayne Johnson explained it all as it was playing. I just thought that was all so well done. I've got an image of that for you right here. Look at that art. Look, Boss Logic is so freaking talented. I can't get over it. But between the art and Dwayne Johnson's enthusiasm, my enthusiasm for Black Adam went up. And the other detail that we got during this presentation that really got me hyped, and I know I say this all the time, but it's worth repeating if anybody here is new. I am not well read in comics, so I didn't really know what Justice Society of America was before we jumped into this. I had heard the title before, but hearing Dwayne Johnson explain it and hearing him and Noah Centineo give us the full group, man, it made me so excited. And I'm so excited that, there's so many of you out there that know the details of this comic. And I am thrilled that now I can have a foot in that world too, and I can learn more about it. But we did get the announcement of who is going to be part of this movie's rendition of Justice Society of America. And we got some great concept art for it too. Let us check it out. So Noah Centineo is playing Atom Smasher. So we've got that here. We've also got Hawkman, Dr. Fate, and Cyclone. And I'm super into team up movies and like epic shots where you see everybody together. But the other thing that makes me really hyped about this is that those roles are going to be great casting opportunities. And I can't wait to see how the production fills them. So I am psyched for Black Adam to hit theaters on December 22nd, 2021. We got to get to the chat here because I did just see a super chat. Michael, how are you doing, man? So Michael is a longtime Patreon supporter. Michael lives in Australia. I am dying to visit Australia one day, but he's just been such a great influence on the Patreon campaign for so long. And I really appreciate this donation right now, Michael. And the fact that you're here hanging out, I hope you're doing well. We have some Black Adam stuff here. Yes, we do. Trevor, I'm hyped to see the JSA in Black Adam. I am right there with you. Neil says Black Adam was the one I had no expectations for and was pleasantly surprised by. I had high expectations, and I wasn't all that surprised because, like, you guys know how Dwayne Johnson does it. Like, when Dwayne Johnson commits to something, he doesn't just, get on board. He takes it to the next level always, and I think that's what he did here. Got a Tooth Fairy comic. Alex 18 Ace. No, even The Rock wants to. No! I'm not going to give you guys a Tooth Fairy review right now, but I will say that that is a very sweet, earnest spin that I enjoyed even as an adult. I will admit that, but I think that's a fun spin on the Tooth Fairy legend for kids out there. So I'm going to give it some credit. Let's go on now to Aquaman 2. This and Shazam will be shorter discussions. Actually, Aquaman will probably be the shortest discussion because, again, this was a situation where they had no footage to show. There was very little to share with us. But James Wan, during the presentation, did say the second one is a little bit more serious, a little bit more relevant to the world we're living in today. That's where it wants to go. And I know this is probably going to be a divisive statement because based on conversations I've had with friends who really like the first Aquaman, they really liked it because it's, it was like bold and colorful and crazy and silly, and they liked the adventure aspect of it. And this comment might suggest that they're going a different route. And I think that route was some of the material in the first Aquaman that I personally responded to more. So this comment appeals to me, but if it doesn't appeal to you, I can fully understand why. But, that was probably the only little news nugget that we got during this part of DC FanDome. But just so you guys know the dates, December 2022 is when we're supposed to get the Aquaman sequel. So that was it for Aquaman. Now on to Shazam, another situation where there wasn't all that much to show, but they did give us the sequel title, Shazam, Fury of the Gods. I'm all for it. To be honest, I don't really know what that means. If any of you have any ideas, do let me know. But I like the way that they announced it and they revealed this poster here. And, we can also kind of read into who was part of the panel. We got some of the older cast members. We got some of the younger cast members. So I do like the idea that they're keeping both groups in play. And, we're going to see the Shazam family of heroes in this next iteration. I'm kind of hoping for, I guess, an even balance. That might be nice, just because, the third act of Shazam plays so crazy well that I wouldn't mind seeing more of that group of the ensemble. So Shazam, I adored the first movie, so I was already looking forward to it. But now, November 4th, 2022, I'm even a little more excited about. Let's see what you guys got here in the chat before we move on to the big one. All right, let's see what we got here. Oop, wrong one. There we go. BlackRock 316. I think it's a good idea to go a little bit more serious for the Aquaman sequel. Yeah, I'm with you on that, BlackRock. And especially when you consider Juan's comments about, it having the movie be a little more relevant to the world we're living in today. I think that's, that's something that's really speaking to a lot of people and hitting home in a big way. Alex 18 Ace, I'm happy for a Shazam sequel, as am I. Oh, so I know what this comment here is about. Let me get back to it. Seattle KO is saying maybe Jason was sick. I know a lot of people were wondering. Ooh, and I see another comment I want to get to. But I know a lot of people were wondering why Jason Momoa wasn't involved. Yeah, maybe he was sick. Maybe he was busy with something else. You really never know. I guess I was a little surprised though, because he's another one. He's kind of like Dwayne Johnson, where whenever Jason Momoa commits to something, he goes big with it, and you can feel his enthusiasm. So I was a little surprised he wasn't there, but I'm sure he has a good reason not to be. Here we go. Xeno Hour is reminding me of the Sinbad part of the Shazam 2 panel. I thought it was mighty amusing. I'm kind of hoping that Sinbad is going to have a cameo after all that. I feel like if I were to bet, I feel like he will, because they included him in this. And I don't know. I kind of want to see that happen. So Seattle KO making some predictions here. The big villain in Shazam 2 is that caterpillar. We shall see. Alex 18 Ace is saying Mr. Mind, I think. There you go. What else do we got here before we move on? Oh, yeah. I mean, back to the Momoa thing. Momoa's been a big supporter of the Snyder Cut. I thought he might have been involved in that as well. And then Neil continued to clarify the caterpillar is called Mr. Mind. So we're all on the same page, guys. All right. How about this last one here? The Batman. I feel like, I think in our Patreon Slack channel, Neil called DC FanDome Christmas, and that is what it felt like, and that's what I'm feeling right now, even as I'm discussing it, like I'm unwrapping presents all over again. I'm beyond thrilled for this movie. This is one of those movies where, you look at the ensemble that they put together, you look at just the fact that it's a Matt Reeves Batman movie starring Robert Pattinson. This movie had me. It had me since Matt Reeves, to be honest. And my hype has gone up and up and up with every single announcement. And even at this point, like, how do you get even more excited for a movie than I already was for this? But they did it. They did it. I am really, really feeling this panel and the trailer. The trailer was something else. I've always been a big fan of the Riddler, and I'm a big fan of Jim Carrey's The Riddler. A lot of you know this, I was mighty obsessed with Batman Forever. Had my Batman Forever poster in my sleepaway camp bunk, my first year there, and I get a kick out of that rendition of the character. But you also know that I like the darker stuff, and I like horror, and opening up this trailer with that spin on the Riddler, it spoke to me. I felt it. I felt the terror and the threat. And that is such an important thing. Again, when we get so many superhero movies, the stakes start to go away when you stop feeling the threat and you stop feeling the fact that, your hero character could really be in danger. And I think this trailer set the tone with what the Riddler's capable of so quickly, and it seeped in, and it really worked for me. I can't wait to see more of Paul Dano in that role. But of course, we have a whole bunch of other villain characters in play here. We've got Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman. I'm a big fan of Zoe Kravitz. We didn't get to see her do all that much. There were a couple solid shots of her, so I'm all for that. But Another favorite DC villain of mine is the Penguin. I grew up, again, mighty obsessed with Danny DeVito's The Penguin. I saw that movie in theaters when I should not have, and the Penguin really scared me as a kid in a good way. And still to this day, Batman Returns is one of my favorite DC movies of all time. to see Colin Farrell as the Penguin, that's what I wanted. I wanted to see that in this trailer, and we got it, and it wasn't what I expected, but it really works. I love that you completely lose Colin Farrell in that whole getup, and I'm so curious to see where they take it from here. If you want a little more information about where they could take it, this quote from Reeves might help. Bear with me, though. It is a little bit of a long one. How all these characters connect was, for me, one of the challenges, but also one of the exciting things about the creation of the story, which is that in going on this urge and compulsion to solve the series of crimes, you touch on all of these iterations, the beginnings of these characters. The whole movie is like a snowball rolling. You can just feel the momentum building and building. I felt it a little in the trailer, so to be able to apply that quote from Reeves to what I saw here, it works really well. I've already missed my images. Like when I was going to bring up Pattinson at the beginning of the trailer, I was going to show you this. I'm still here, guys. I'm still here. I'll learn to work with the visuals a little better next time. But then, you got a little Riddler here, and I did get a screen grab of Colin Farrell's Penguin. Oh man, yeah, I think that's really going to work for me. I'm very, very into that. The other thing that I pulled a screen grab of is right here. This is the moment where Robert Pattinson delivers the vengeance line, and he just like so viciously punches that guy. And again, I think that makes you feel the intensity of what he's going to bring to the role of Bruce Wayne and the Batman. And ooh. So I'm so excited. I think I've said I'm so excited like 500 times in this video, but I really, really am. And, you guys know what the discourse has been. The DC film franchise had a couple bumps in the road at the beginning, but the fact that I'm like ready to burst with excitement right now. I couldn't be happier for the studio, for the brand, for the DC fans out there. This is so great. Batman is expected to go back into production in September, and then the movie is slated for an October 1, 2021 release. Jeez, I am buzzing with energy. This was the smartest thing I could have done today, because right after I finish this stream, I'm going to go back into work, and I feel like all this energy is going to help me with it. Before I leave you guys, let's hit the chat a little, and I want to see if anyone's got some stuff to say about the Batman in particular. Mirror domains, I 100% agree with this. You wouldn't think the use of duct tape sounds could be, it's such a little detail, could be so effective, but I think it really, really was. And also the title cards in that Batman trailer, it's so perfect. I can't handle it. What else we got here? Paul Dano's voice. Yes, I'm a big fan of Paul Dano, so I will always believe that he's going to knock a roll out of the park. This could be the holiday killer, Jerry Garza. I did read, oh man, the name of the comic is escaping me now. I can't believe I can't remember it. Someone is going to remind me in the chat in a minute, but back in, man, I think it was February last year or maybe April last year, I read all about Holiday Killer. What else we got here? I'm going to the bottom to see if someone will give me that name so I don't have to Google it. But we got this one. Aaron Hall, great DC FanDome, big win for comic book movie fans. Couldn't agree more. There we go. Zeno Hour. Thank you. Long Halloween. Whew. That was a major brain fart. Speaking of Long Halloween, we got Alex 18 Ace helping me out too. I appreciate it, guys. And let's get this one here. Hardline Soul is saying the trailer gave me Joker vibes. I agree. I do agree. And one thing bringing up Joker right now that makes me really excited, I made a comment, I think on yesterday's live stream with Dorian, and said that, I'm spending lockdown at home with my family right now, so I'm watching a lot of movies with my parents, and my mom tends to not like action heavy movies, and so I haven't really shared my love of superhero movies with her so much because I don't think she'd really be into it. But then she reminded me that she loved the Joker, so the fact that she loved the Joker is making me more excited for the Batman, because maybe it is a superhero movie that I could share with my mom. And you guys know I love sharing the movies that I love with my friends, my family, everybody. Cobb Cannon, Perri, give me vengeance. Man, this is great, guys. I want to thank you all for hanging out
with me this Sunday afternoon. I hope everyone out there is being safe. And while all you're here, while all of you are here, I would like to remind you of, I don't know, some other cool stuff I'm working on that you might want to check out. And if you want another video to watch after this, I think the one that I would recommend most right now is my interview that I did the other day with Ariza for Cutthroat City. He's a huge, huge film fan. So if you want to kind of, continue the film love vibe right now, I would highly recommend going over to Collider and checking that out. But this is it for me. Before I say goodbye, I've got some Patreon shout outs to give. A great group here. We've got Andrew, Paul, LK, and then also Craig, Corey, and Tabitha. I say this all the time, but I'm going to say it again with all you guys watching. I love my Patreon team so much because it's not just about, signing up and giving out rewards. We've created a really cool community over there. And the names that I just listed have been part of that community for a while. And I don't know, I just want to send more love to all the folks on the Slack level of the Patreon team too, because that right there has been, it's been a really good group to turn to during lockdown when I just want to, share my loves and passions with a whole group of people who share them. So guys, thank you so much for watching this DC FanDome recap. Hopefully we'll have more events like this to talk about in the future. I hope you guys keep staying safe out there.